68% of people feel stress or anxiety when separated from their loved ones. Oh, wait a second, that's not what it says. When they're separated from their phones. Y'all are in love with your phones. If you don't have your phone, you freak out. There are literally apps, tons of them built in so that you can never lose your phone and have it with you all the time. There is this thing, and I listen, I'll be honest, I've experienced it. It's called phantom vibration. And I don't ever have my phone where people can hear it. I always have it on silent, and so my phone is supposed to like vibrate to let me know if a text message or something comes in. There have been times, and it's freaky, it's weird. Your body just does things. There have been times that I can physically feel my phone vibrating in my pocket. And then I go to get it, and my phone is not even in my pocket. It's like in my office, and I'm over on the other side, and I'm going, well, that's creepy. That's just weird. But that's how much we, like literally, I'm not sure if you could be more stressed out if you lost your kid or you lost your phone. Because like, at least my kid might be able to make its way back, but my phone, it's gone for forever. Nearly 40% of adults admit their phones make them feel lonelier, and 1 in 3 admit that they have no one to confide in. See, what we've done is we've gone to something digital that only analog can actually fix. We've gone to our phones, which is all digital, and we've tried to be able to supplement the connection that we need with other people, which is completely analog. I don't care. Listen, Zoom, that's fantastic for meetings. It's not great for connectivity with other people. It's like, hey, let's have a guys' night. We're all going to Zoom. Wow, that sounds fantastic. But we try to do it this way, but our bodies are not made, our minds are not made to get that from this. And yet, that's what we try. And what's happened is that we have willingly, passionately, and joyfully traded meaningful human connection for soulless digital connectivity. Let me say that again. We have passionately, purposefully, intentionally, and joyfully traded meaningful human connection for soulless digital connectivity. Now, if you're sitting there going, Dave must hate technology, I am preaching from an iPad. Now, there's a practical reason behind that. I am over 50 years of age. There's not enough light up here, and I need about 18-point font to be able to read as I'm standing this far back. But I love my technology. I love the things that I use with that. And technology is absolutely fantastic when we use it correctly. But here's the problem. We have traded something that God built into us for something that gives us the quick hit, but not the long-lasting connection. And what do we get for that trade? What do we get out of it? Well, I feel like maybe Chris Ballard made this trade because we really don't get anything out of it. And we give away something deep and meaningful. We get depression. We get emptiness. We get meaninglessness. Do you realize that we have higher levels, in fact, not just higher, sometimes double digits higher, sometimes more than 100% higher than it was a decade ago when it comes to depression, thoughts of suicide, thoughts of loneliness, emptiness, no meaning in life, and addiction. There's a brand new addiction every day. It's about something. We get overwhelmed with all of these things in us. And what's worse is we've actually handed it down to our children. We put it right in their hand. In his book, The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt said this. He says, we overprotect our kids in the real world and we underprotect them in the digital world. Now, I remember, I know, I already said I'm over 50, so you don't, but I remember being a kid. I remember getting on my bike. Listen, let me tell you something. I never wore a bike helmet in my entire life at any point in time because they look stupid. Praise Jesus. Okay. Listen, I would get on my bike and I would create jump ramps and I rode my bike one time on a jump ramp right into the side of a limb and it was phenomenal. I think had we had phones back then, that would have gone viral because that was hysterical. But here's the thing. We did all sorts of crazy stuff outside and we didn't wear helmets and we didn't do this and we didn't do that. Today, my goodness, moms, I think if you could buy bubble wrap in bulk, you would wrap your kid. Do you remember A Christmas Story when he dressed him up in the all of his stuff to stay warm and he's walking like this? He's like, I have to pee. And he doesn't. This is what we do with our kids. We overprotect them in the real world. They're going to play baseball. We're like, oh, we need the helmet with the face guard and the face shield, and we need the protected vest, and we need the padded mitt, and we need the shin guards just in case the pitcher who's throwing it 4 miles an hour and bounces it to the plate, hits you in the shins. And if we've got a little boy, we got to get them a cup, right? Seriously. And if you don't have a little boy and don't know what that is, just ask a parent. So, anyways, that we do all of this stuff. And yet, at 10 years old, we give them a device that gives them unlimited access to porn. We don't put any restrictions on it, and that device drives them to comparison. And apples to apples in study after study after study after study says that activity on that phone and the more time they're on that phone, there's a correlation to where their anxiety, depression, thoughts of unworthiness go up the exact amount almost for how much time they spend on it. It makes them vulnerable to algorithms that are designed to tell them they're not enough and that they need another hit to be able to feel good. They need another like to be able to feel like they matter. It feeds them lies, shapes their identity, and twists their concept of what the real world is. And what's worse is, y'all, we didn't just hand it to them. We're modeling it for them. We're saying this is how it's done. But Jesus said there's a better way. Again, I'm not against technology. I think technology is great in its place and what its purpose is for. Technology is wonderful for the one side or the one hemisphere of your brain that's the how-to side. DIY, man, baby, you can find anything online and you can do it. But on the side that deals with beauty and reason and meaning, it does nothing for it. It literally shrinks that part of your brain. Jesus did something a little different. And I'm going to, just bear with me. I want to put these two passages of Scripture together to see the better way. John 13. It's one of the last things that Jesus says to his disciples. He says, so now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as I have loved you. You should love each other. And your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Just listen, okay. I want to help you understand something here. Now, loving each other, loving God, loving your neighbor, all that stuff, that was way back. That was Old Testament. That was Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. God gave the 10 commandments. That was part of it. That's the whole part of the thing. But Jesus says, I'm giving you a new commandment. What is the new commandment? The new commandment is don't just love each other the way that you think you should love each other. Love each other the way that I have shown you how to love each other. And how did Jesus show us that he loved us? Well, John chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 14. Jesus modeled it to us. John chapter 1, John writes, in the beginning was the Word. Now, if you want to do this, I want to encourage you just because he uses the word, notice it's capital W. He's referring to Jesus Christ. So he says, in the beginning was Christ. He was there. He's calling him the Word because he is the living Word of God. When he spoke the words of God. And so John goes, listen, in the beginning, before everything was created, Jesus already existed. And he was with God. And he was God. So he goes, listen, I want to lay this out before anything else. I want you to understand it before I write the rest of this letter to you, before I write the rest of this, what we now call a book. I want you to understand something incredibly important. Jesus Christ was with God. Jesus Christ was God, and he was the same as God. They are one. We're going to skip to verse 14. So the Word became human, and he made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son. 400 years before Jesus Christ shows up on the scene, God had given his written word. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 all the Old Testament. They had it in written word. That was their digital of the day. And yet God goes, you know what? I'm not just going to send my written word. I'm going to show up. And I'm going to show them what I mean. I'm going to show them how to live. I'm going to show them what it means to be fully following of me. He showed up in flesh and blood. He hugged, he cried, he encouraged, he challenged, he listened, he walked alongside, he lived with them, he prayed with them, he fought alongside them, he discipled them, and then he goes, now you love each other like I just showed you how to love each other. See, Jesus says, listen, this is different. It's not just enough to say it. You got to show up. So that's a big idea for today. Big idea is really, really simple. We are most like Jesus when we show up for others. We are most like Jesus when we show up for others. It is easy when somebody walks up to you and goes, man, life is so hard right now. And this is going on, and this is going on, and this is the struggle I'm going through, and this is the hurt we're experiencing, and this is the loss we've felt. And you listen to them and you, yeah. Well, you know what? We'll be praying for you. And you turn around and you walk away. That sounds unbelievably spiritual, doesn't it? And maybe you'll even go so far as to Facebook message them and go, hey, I hope you're feeling better. And that is the extent of it. Listen, can we just be honest? That's not showing up. Jesus left the perfection of heaven, laid aside the use of his authority, laid aside the use of his godness. He didn't cease to be God, but he laid aside the use of the practical tools of that, and he took on human flesh. He met us where we were, in the mess that we were, with the trouble that we caused and the problems that we created, and he didn't show up and say, you need to get it together, people. He said, let me show you how to love each other. We are most like Christ when we show up for each other. And then, what I love, the most vivid example we have of this is actually in the first century church. Acts chapter 2. You see, at that point in time, they didn't have any written word New Testament yet. They only had the Old Testament, but they had the words that Jesus Christ gave. And so the disciples gathered together, and they stand in front of this crowd of people, because on Pentecost, when Peter preached, and they had 3,000 men got saved that day. And by the way, I love this. If you ever have anybody go, you know what, churches, they just should be small, and churches should be this. And church, listen, size of the church doesn't matter. What matters is if God is moving in the church. And secondly, those that go, churches are too big, you would have hated the very first church that God created. Because on the day that Peter preached, 3,000 men got saved. It's not 3,000 people, it was 3,000 men. So listen, I know that's very chauvinistic, but that's what it says. 3,000 men, not including the women and children. So more than likely, the church at Jerusalem that God planted went from 300 to 10,000 overnight. Can you imagine the scaling nightmare of that? How do you do that? And that's why we read a couple chapters later that the disciples are going, dude, we need help. And so the disciples, they preach to this church, and they go, listen, folks, here's the thing. This is some of the last words that Jesus gave us. He said, I want you to love each other as I have loved you. And here's how Jesus loved us. He walked with us, and he talked with us, and he prayed with us, and he cried with us, and he showed us what it was like. And so that's what we're going to be as a church. We're going to just try to love each other the way that God, through Jesus Christ, showed us how to love each other. And Acts chapter 2, verses 42 through 47 lay out what happened. And listen to this. And all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship. And you're like, ooh, fellowship, there's a good Baptist church word right there. You know what that means? That means they hung out with each other. They hung out with each other, and they talked, and they laughed, and they enjoyed each other's company. That's what it means. Listen, we've had people go, you know what, you guys don't do enough spiritual things. And I'm like, you know what, let me tell you something. Some of the most spiritual moments take place in events like Ladies' Game Night, in events like Uncivilized, in events like the Men's Leadership Weekend, which, by the way, guys, there's a Men's Leadership Weekend that's happening. Why? Because that is part of what makes us human. It's the way God created us. We need those connections so that when life sucks, we have people who can show up for us. And to sharing in meals and to prayer. Listen, I will tell you what, this right here, this and sharing in meals, that does not mean potlucks. Just saying. And if we ever have a potluck, which we will never call a potluck, if you show up with a green bean casserole, you are kicked out of the church. That may just be me. The new elders may have a different bent on that. Anyways, and to prayer. And I love this. A deep sense of awe came over them all. They were like, whoa, this is what we've been missing. This is what God intended for us to experience. This is awesome. And notice what happens next. When everybody was connecting with each other and they were hanging out, they were going to meals together, they were praying for each other, they had a deep sense of awe, and then the Bible says, and the apostles were able to do some pretty unbelievable things, and the miraculous work of God spread like wildfire. Isn't it interesting that when we love each other the way that Christ loved us and modeled it for us, that is when the miraculous power of God is unleashed in our lives? It's almost like it was God's plan. It's almost like God, listen, let me just give you the roadmap here. If you'll do this, you will experience all that I have for you. We go, yeah, but I have the latest iPhone Pro Max. And it's got ChatGPT. And I can ask it a question, and it'll tell me the answer. It's great. That's what we do. Okay. Many miraculous signs and wonders, and all the believers met together in one place. That's this. They all met together in one place, and they shared everything they had, and they sold their property and possessions, and they shared the money with those in need, and they worshiped together at the temple each day, and they met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and they shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. And it all started because they began to love each other the way that Jesus showed them how to love. And they showed up for each other. They learned together, they prayed together, they ate together, they shared with each other, they worshiped together, and they grew together. I love how that ends. And God added to their numbers daily. Their connectedness was so contagious that it drew people in. There were no billboards in 33 AD. I doubt that there were even anything like postcards. There certainly wasn't Facebook ads. It was all just because of what was going on. They were so unique because the rich would meet with the poor. They would go out and invite each other to their homes, and they would share each other's food, and they would encourage each other, the young with the old, the Jew with the Gentile. This had never happened before in society. It had never happened before in society with people that were so divided from each other, yet because they both knew Jesus Christ, they loved each other and encouraged each other. It didn't matter if you were rich or poor, young or old, Jew or Gentile, Democrat, Republican, undecided. It didn't matter. They all loved each other. And they rallied around loving each other like Christ had shown them how to love each other. So what are we going to do? Okay. So how do we break the hold that is dragging us down? I'm going to give you one big thing, okay? And then I'm going to give you multiple little action steps. So just so that you are aware. Here's the one big thing. It's not the big idea, it's the one big thing, okay? It's a new thing. Here we go. We're going to stop reaching for what fills the moment. And we're going to start doing what fills your soul. We're going to stop reaching for what fills the moment, right? That quick dopamine hit. How many likes did my video get? Who texted me? What's going on? And that's what we, right? So here's what I want your brain to think. Okay, this week, or maybe in like 15 minutes when we're all done here, and the first thing that you do out of habit, out of desire, out of need to get that quick hit, you grab your phone and open it up. Instead of reaching for that, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause and go, wait a second. Instead of reaching for the quick moment hit of dopamine and adrenaline and the rush of feeling worthy because somebody I don't know liked it, I'm going to do something that will actually fill my soul. Because we have full feeds and empty souls. Because we're trying to fill the human connection with digital connectivity, and it will never work. It never will. So how do we do that? I'm just give you some practical things. The first thing, this is for a family. If you have a family, or you have a friend, or you're going out to lunch with somebody, here you go. You ready for this? And you're going to die. You may die. You may literally die if you do this. But what if you don't? Listen, I was probably smoking something when I wrote this down. Have a phone-free meal. We're going to hand out the Xanax as you leave today. Have a phone-free meal. It always amazes me. Trace and I will go out to eat, and our date night or doing something like that. And we'll be sitting there talking and just, laughing about different stupid things. And, did you hear about this? No, I didn't hear about it. We're laughing. And I don't know how, it's literally every time. But what blows me away is when you can tell it's a first date, and they are both on their phones on the first date. And I'm going, well, I guess they're setting expectations. This matters more. But I see it all the time. Families. Literally, I can't remember. This is a couple months back. There was a family of like 7 people or 6 people, and there was a grandpa and then a mom and a dad and a couple of kids and maybe like a brother or something like that. And they were all sitting around the table, and I looked over, and I kid you not, it was a circle table. I kid you not. Every single person was on their phone eating like this. And I'm just going, are you kidding me? And I know some of you are like, I think Dave saw us at Brewburger. But literally, have a phone-free meal. My encouragement to you is that if you have a family, make that the rule. Because the people around the table matter more than the people you've never met in your phone. Just a thought. That's the personal one or the family one. This is the personal. This is just for you. Replace doom scrolling with hope filling. Now, if you don't know what doom scrolling is, first of all, you're probably more like my age than you are anything else, but doom scrolling is literally the intentional purpose of all social media. If you don't believe this, just look into it. They build the algorithms to learn what you like, and then when they learn what you like, they feed you more of that. Now that sounds like, oh good, they want me. Let me tell you why they do that. Because they want you to stay on the app longer and longer and longer and longer. And the reason that they want you to stay on the app is because it makes them more money. Now here's the thing. You may not know what doom scrolling is, but you're going to know when I tell you this. You open up Instagram or you open up Facebook on your phone or you open up TikTok or Snapchat or whatever it is, and you open it up at 5:45. You look up and it's 9:30. That's doom scrolling. Here's the thing. Time moves way differently when you're on social media. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. You have no idea. All of a sudden, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're like, oh, I can't believe I've just spent the last 17 hours looking at social media. That must be why my phone died and I needed the extra battery to plug it in. Here's the thing. Instead, be intentional about filling yourself with some hope. Maybe instead of opening up the app, Instagram and Snapchat and all those other things, open up YouVersion. Or better yet, I know this is good, this is radical. Grab a physical Bible. A physical Bible is a book. Looks like this. You just got a leather or pleather binding. It just depends. There's words on it. And you know what? You don't even have to doom. You just take 15 minutes and fill your soul with something that will encourage you instead of swapping through pictures that will make you feel less than. All right. Now, these next 4, these are all relational. They're not just for you, they're for the people in your lives. This is really the most practical application of showing up. All right? So don't just text, call. Now, can I be honest with you? I'm not a fan of people calling me because I have to stop what I'm doing and take the call or else I feel bad. So I'm not a fan of that. But here's why I tell you this. And here's the context to which I mean. You find out that something has happened in someone else's life. You find out that something is going on, and you text them, I'm so sorry to hear that. Now, is that a good thing? Answer? Yes. Hey, listen, I want you to know I'm here for you. If you need anything, let me know. Praying for you. It's a good thing. But you know what's interesting? Is that they've done multiple studies on this. And do you know that the human ear and mind, because they work in concert with each other, they can identify a friend's voice within less than 2 words? Your brain can just pick it up. And here's what's interesting. They hooked, EEG stuff to over people's brains and all these different things, and they had their friends, call them or talk to them, and they watched the brain waves that took off. Do you realize that when a friend calls you in a time of stress, here's what happens? Immediately, your stress lowers by anywhere from 15 to 45%. Your cortisol levels drop. It boosts trust through the release of oxytocin. You're like, "Ooh, I like that." It's the drug that makes you feel happy in your body. It provides instant comfort. It mimics the same calming effects as a physical hug and reduces the anxiety and feelings of isolation. And it'll cost you all of about 90 seconds. But it might change that person's day. You see something, you go, "Oh my gosh." Now here's what I would say. Text and say, "Can I call you real quick?" And then they go, "Yes," and you call them and you spend 90 seconds on the phone and just, "Man, I wanted to reach out. I know going through something like this, it hurts, it's painful. I get it, I understand it." Don't ask them, "Listen, can you regurgitate everything for me so that I have all the information?" No, that's not the purpose of the call, to get the gossip chain going and saying, "Hey, listen, you really need to pray for so-and-so because they..." No, I just wanted to reach out to let you know we love you. If there's anything we can do for you, we got you. Don't just text, call. Don't just pray for, pray with. Don't just pray for, pray with. Years ago, I started doing this, and again, full honesty here, because I don't ever want to pretend that I've got it all together, because that would be foolish. Then you'd go, "Oh, look at Dave." No, look at God, because He's got it together, we don't. But years ago, I started doing this because somebody would come up, they would tell me something, and I'd go, "Oh, man, we'll be praying for you." And then what happens? Life goes on, and you forget about it. So my habit has become, if somebody comes up and tells me something significant going on, "Can I pray with you?" I just reach out, put my hand on their shoulder, and just pray with them right there. Now, not only is the commitment that I've said I'm going to do, I've fulfilled it, and so I know I can do it. So if I do forget about it later, then I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel as bad," because I pray with them right there. But you know how significant it is to put your hand on someone and pray with them? Because I've had people do that for me, and it's significant. So don't just pray for them. Pray with them. And then you can double dip. You can habit stack, right? Instead of just texting them, you call them and you pray with them. And you like this. Then you can post on social media that you double dip today on avoiding social media. Okay, number 5. Don't just say you care. Show up. Now, this doesn't mean show up at their doorstep. This means show up in their life. If you've gone through something similar and you go, "Man, I remember what it was like, and I just wish somebody would come and mow my lawn," or "I just wish somebody would reach out," or "I just wish somebody," and you know that, then do that. Do that. You step into the void where they need that, right? Last thing. Don't just hope someone gets stronger. Help someone get stronger. Don't just hope someone gets stronger. Help someone get stronger. Years and years ago, not here, not at Friendship, but in Michigan, I had a group of older people. Quite frankly, they're probably my age at that point in time, but I was a lot younger, so they were old. There's about 4 of them. They came up to me, and they literally go, "We have an issue with these young people." I'm like, "Okay, what's the issue?" You know what? They just come on Sunday mornings. Okay? Well, listen, seriously, they don't serve in the nursery. They don't usher. They don't do this. They don't do that. They should. I go, "Okay. Well, maybe they need someone to show them the way. They're like, you're right. You should probably do that, Dave. And I go, no. I said, you misunderstand me. I said, they probably need someone like you who's been doing it for a long time to encourage and invite them and kind of put your arm around them to show them how to do it. Oh. Yeah, somebody should probably do that. And that, believe it or not, that was the last time they complained to me about it. It's weird. It's easy to talk about how people aren't growing in Christ. It's easy to talk about how people aren't showing up and serving. It's easy to talk about how people are a problem because they won't do what they're supposed to do. Do you know what is actually Christ-like? It's coming alongside them and saying, hey, let me show you how to do this. Let me help you. Let me encourage you. Let me walk this with you. Because we're not just about hoping people get stronger and better. We're about helping people get stronger and better. And that's just not a me job. Ephesians chapter 4 tells us that that's an us job. Now I want to just close with personal, okay? As most of you know, my dad passed away a few weeks ago, and we were down there in Florida. But I was there at 3 different times for a week period each time. And I got to tell you, their church down there, they lived this out. My dad was in the hospital for almost 8 months. And every time I would call my mom, they're like, oh, so-and-so just came and stopped by. So-and-so just dropped off a meal. A couple of my lady friends came in and they snuck me in some Pepsis because she's a Pepsi addict. The pastor was just here. The music guy was just here. I mean, like literally, it was this rotation. And there was a couple I'd never met before that I was there. We know their names. We will always know their names. Their names are George and Priscilla. And they were there probably 3 times a week. And they came in, they sat with my mom, they sat with my dad. They would bring her some stuff, some snacks and different things like that. And they lived out the showing up part. And it wasn't necessarily super organized. It was just organic. Because they loved him. That's what it's supposed to look like. That's how it's supposed to feel. That's when we truly get connected with other people. Father God, I pray that you would help us show up. God, I pray that you would help us get past the digital barrier that we so often throw up in front of other people. Those things that give us those little hits of dopamine and adrenaline, but God, it's robbing us of genuine, authentic connection and relationship. And so, God, I pray that we would remember that not only are we people who tend to be lonely, but we are surrounded by lonely and broken and hurting people. And God, as followers of Jesus Christ, as people who say we have experienced your love, God, I pray that we would love those around us the way that you love us, the way that you showed us how to love. Because God, when we do that, we are providing 100% real, authentic, soul-filling connectedness and community that changes the world. It happens one time, one person at a time. So God, I pray this week that when we reach for our phone out of habit, that we would pause for a moment and go, okay, God, is there something you want me to do that would fill my soul, that would make a difference, that would show your love to someone who needs it. Because, God, I want to be a person that helps people who are disconnected and far from God to become connected and growing in Christ.